The world was not yet an empire. It was a fractured land of kingdoms, each clawing for dominance. Greece still echoed with the memory of Alexander's conquests, Persia licked its wounds after defeat yet remained vast and defiant, and far to the west, the wolf of Rome began to stir. But in the shadows of these great powers, there was another tale, one history would not record, yet destiny demanded. It began on the shores of Phoenicia, where the salt wind carried both the stench of blood and the promise of fortune. Merchants sold ivory, spices, and slaves, while whispers spread of a man unlike any other, born of no noble house, owing allegiance to no crown. His name was Calus, son of no known father. A gladiator, a wanderer, and a storm wrapped in flesh. The arena of Tyre. The sun burned like molten bronze above the city of Tyre. In the great amphitheater, crowds roared as iron clashed on sand. Calus fought with nothing but a battered spear and his own fury, standing over 3 fallen men. Finish them, the mob demanded, but Calus lowered his weapon. He would not kill for their amusement. His silence enraged the crowd, but it made him dangerous, unpredictable. The overseers whispered that he could not be controlled. That night, as chains bit into his wrists, a stranger came. She was cloaked in white linen, her face veiled. The guards bowed low. This was no mere spectator, she was Meliora, daughter of a Carthaginian general, a woman who dealt in secrets as deftly as others dealt in silver. You are wasted here, she said softly. There is a storm coming, Calus. Empires rise, and empires fall, but a man like you could decide which. He laughed bitterly. I am no king. No, she agreed. You are something rarer, a weapon unclaimed. Whispers of conquest. Beyond Tyre, Persia plotted revenge against Greece. In Macedon, warlords battled for fragments of Alexander's broken empire. Carthage eyed Rome across the sea, knowing the clash was inevitable. But Meliora spoke of something greater. She told Calus of a prophecy carved into forgotten stone, guarded by desert tribes. A warrior of no nation, born in chains, will wield the fire of gods and shape the world anew. Calus dismissed it as myth, yet fate pulled him onward. With Meliora's help, he escaped the arena. They fled east, across deserts that swallowed armies, pursued by soldiers who wanted him dead, or captured. For word had spread of the gladiator who defied kings, and rulers feared what they could not control. The desert trial. For weeks, Calus wandered the red sands with Meliora and a handful of loyal fugitives. Hunger gnawed, water dwindled, and despair grew heavy. Men muttered that the prophecy was a curse. One night, under a sky drenched in stars, Calus collapsed. He dreamed of fire and thunder, of cities burning, of legions kneeling. A voice like stone whispered, "Rise, son of no crown. Rise, and forge the empire that must come." When he awoke, a storm had swept the desert. His men were ready to abandon hope, but Calus rose to his feet, seized the broken spear that had never left his side, and stood against the raging winds. "If the gods want me dead, let them strike me now," he roared. "If they want me to rise, then let the world itself hear me." The storm passed. The men followed. Blood and brotherhood. In time, Calus carved his legend. He struck alliances with nomad tribes who had never bowed to king nor emperor. He freed slaves from caravans, and those who had nothing gave him everything, their loyalty, their swords, their lives. He fought not for gold, nor crown, but for something purer, the chance to break the chains of all men. Yet empire was a cruel teacher. Each victory drew enemies greater than the last. Persian satraps sent armies to crush him. Greek mercenaries sought his head for gold. Even Carthage, once Meliora's ally, began to fear the man who could not be bought. Still, Calus endured. For every man lost, 10 more flocked to his banner. The betrayal. But not all bonds hold. Among his closest was Darius, a soldier from the east who fought like a lion and swore eternal loyalty. Together they bled, together they triumphed. Yet ambition is a poison. Darius believed the prophecy spoke not of Calus, but of himself. On the eve of their greatest battle, when Calus's growing force was to face a Persian legion, Darius betrayed him. He opened the gates to their enemies, selling Calus's position for gold and false promises of kingship. The camp burned. Friends were slaughtered. Calus himself was struck down, his body pierced by spears, left for dead beneath a blood-red sky. The rise. But death would not claim him. For 3 days he lay broken among corpses, drifting between shadow and fire. On the 3rd night, he rose, not by strength alone, but by will that defied the grave. His scars became his armor, his fury, his weapon. Those who had survived rallied to him once more, calling him not man, but Titan. He hunted Darius across deserts and mountains, across rivers and ruins. When at last they met, Calus said only, "You betrayed more than me. You betrayed every chain we sought to break." Their battle shook the earth. When it ended, Darius lay dead, and Calus's legend was sealed. Toward Empire. By 300 BC, Calus had become more than a warrior. He was a symbol. Armies that once served kings now followed him. Slaves whispered his name as prayer. Merchants told tales of the gladiator who rose to challenge empires. And yet, he did not crown himself. For Calus knew what others did not, that empire was not yet ready. Rome sharpened its claws, Carthage sharpened its spears, Greece and Persia circled like wolves. His time was only the beginning, a spark before the inferno. But history remembers sparks, and when the chronicles of men would one day tell of the rise of empire, they would whisper of him, the man who came before, the man who could not be chained, the man who lit the fire that would consume the world.